So I don't want this to devolve into a straight comparison video between the Motorola Razr Plus for 2024 and the Galaxy Z Flip 6. But we have enough information on the Z Flip 6 and what Samsung is going to announce on July 10th that we can have at least a discussion about what's going on between these two devices and whether Samsung has done enough upgrading the Flip to make at least a competition between these two devices. Because to me, the holdback for Motorola is software, and we're going to talk about that in a moment as well, because it's not quite what I thought previously, and so we'll discuss these two devices. First off, the Flip 6. Let's go over what we know. 3.9-inch outer display, which is going to match the 4-inch outer display on the Motorola Razr Plus. Nice upgrade there. It's going to be down to design, how they handle it. I've always thought, and this is something, look, the Flip is a smaller device to begin with. 6.7-inch internal display makes for a smaller footprint, more compact in the hand, all the rest of that. I just always felt that the outer display on the Flip device felt like a large widget display or notification display, as opposed to the outer display on the Moto Razr, which felt like a usable display. Whether that's the way they handled the cutout or all that, I don't know. That could just be in my head. But it just presented to me, it was a good lock stuff at first too that played into that. It just presented to me like the outer display on the Galaxy Flip devices was more for notifications and larger widgets. Now, 3.9 inches, that changes. How they handle the cutouts and stuff like that, that's going to determine a lot. However, it'll be interesting to see how usable that feels for typing and scrolling, and if the Good Lock integration, if they have all the app support like Moto's promising for the Razr Plus for 2024 on the front screen from launch. Link in the description, by the way, does help the channel. Get yourself $50 off the Flip 6 or Fold 6. It works for both. Plus, you enter yourself to win a $5,000 Samsung gift card or credit or all the rest of it. So go ahead and use that link if you can, so you get that pre-order ahead of July, or the reserve for the pre-order ahead of July 10th. But also, the big thing that you're going to be noticing, price is going to be similar. So the fact that you're getting a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, the full version of that chip in the Flip 6, is interesting. If you do a lot of photo and video editing, you do a lot of hardcore gaming on your Flip device, which I don't do, that's something that might come into play. Slightly smaller battery, 3790 on the milliamp hours, as opposed to 4000 over here on the Razr Plus. I believe that's what the number is going to be, about 4000 on here. But I talked about the price. And then software. You're going to get your 4 or 5 years on your Flip 6. You're getting your 3 years or whatever they commit to over here on your Razr Plus. Here's the problem. You don't know when you're getting those upgrades on the Motorola device. And I was talking with somebody this morning, and they were saying, somebody in the industry, and they were saying, you know what, we think at this point it's basically intentional with Motorola. Like, it's not that they're just a bad company. It's not that they're slow with software updates. They're intentionally just holding them back and trying to save as much money on software as possible. Now, the odd part about that is they don't really pass the savings on to the consumer. It's not like all of a sudden, these devices are $899. That's really not what's happening. So, if they're saving money, I don't really care about that, because it's not coming back to my pocket. Give me the software updates. But someone mentioned in a comment on a Motorola video that Motorola is essentially behaving like Blue and OEMs from 10 years ago, where, LG and all the rest of them, those very early phones like the Motorola Photon and stuff like that, if you wanted extra features, buy the new one. But we moved past that. That may have been acceptable back in the day, and sure, it saves money, but that's an odd take to have in 2024 regarding your software. Hello UI or Hello UX, I can't get the new name right to save my life. Looks good on this. I happen to like it. It's a little bit more heavily skinned than before. That's a bit of an odd choice going in the other direction, but it still is pleasant enough. But the fact that we're holding back on updates is going to be a differentiating factor between these two devices, because to me, if everything's equal with updates, I'm buying the Razr Plus, because there's no real indication that Samsung is going to change the Flip 6 heavily as far as design. It's going to be boxy. It's going to be the smaller design. That's pretty much what we've gotten for the past few years. And while it's sturdy and it holds up well and it is a clean design, it's kind of meh. You know, the reason why we get flip devices, and I don't really talk about looks on a lot of other phones besides flips. Even folds, I don't really care that much about design. Flips are partially about style. That's why you charge that, you pay that premium, right? Because if you really cared about performance and all the rest of it and software updates and the whole smack, you're buying a slab phone. You're spending the same amount of money, that $1,000, to buy a slab that's arguably or objectively better than these flip devices. They're not going to break. They have a better durability. All the rest of it. They're more powerful, more RAM. There's so many things that you could point to that you could do. Bigger batteries. There's so many things you could point to with those devices that you don't get on the flips. But they don't have the pizzazz factor. So that's where Samsung kind of gets me a little bit. Like, yes, okay, there's a lot to this. But look at these two devices, okay? Just when you're using them, when you unfold them, just the feel, the thinness of this, all the rest of it. There's something missing with the flip devices. And I don't know what it is. But Samsung's able to claw and keep in this marketplace because they know how to offer software updates. And that matters to a lot of people. But if you're somebody going pure style, then no, Samsung hasn't done enough. If you're somebody who's buying this because you like the idea of a flip phone, because you think it looks cool, because you like the compact form factor and how it leaves such a small footprint in your pocket or your bag or whatever it happens to be, then the Razr's the way to go. But if you want, those up-to-date features, if you want the new Galaxy AI stuff, Moto AI, okay, that's great. They're going to offer that on the Plus this year. But who knows how long it's going to be updated for, or what updates or what features are going to be there, or the new ones they're going to make you wait for the Plus for 2025. That's the question mark. Here you don't have that question mark. Yes, it's going to be a question of what kind of AI features and all the rest of it that Samsung brings down to previous devices, but at least you know there's going to be an effort. There's going to be some optimization there. One UI is coming to the Flip 6 for many years to come. And Samsung's gotten better at optimizing updates as well, extending battery life, better heat management, all the rest of it. So it's going to come down to basically the decision you got last year. If you're buying a flip for the style, mostly, you're going to want to go to the Razr. If you're buying a flip for the internals, for the whatever, and you just like the smaller form factor, but you still want the full-on experience of a flagship phone with the support that goes with it for $1,000, which is not a big ask. You're not being unreasonable doing that. You're not being stubborn by saying for $1,000 I'd like a flagship experience that gives me the support of a flagship experience. That's not outrageous. So if you buy a Flip 6, if you reserve one, link in the description, no one's going to blame you for that. No one's going to eat your lunch for that. Say you have no style. But if it's less of a concern for you, if you're buying a flip for a flip, if you're a casual, you might want to consider the Razr. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, we're going to have both of them here, obviously. I wish, you know what would save Samsung a little bit? I think yellow's listed, some sort of gray, the pink, the blue, I'm sorry, no pink, the mint and the blue. And I already know what that palette's going to look like. That pastel, washed out, whatever. Get some pigment in there, Samsung. Give me a little something. If you can't excite this design at all from this just kind of squared off whatever you got, at least get some pigment, some pizzazz in these phones. Help out a little bit. A coat of paint goes a long way. You know, we've seemed to have forgotten that over time. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.